rape is a men's issue. You guys must solve it. We're tired. Personally, there's nothing I can contribute to solving rape and gender-based violence in this country. Men of South Africa must solve it. And radio is like that. You need to keep doing the thing to get better. So if you're putting her there for 2 years, you're removing her and you say women are not good enough. How are they going to be good enough when you don't give them equal opportunity to prove themselves?
I hear you.
Or
I hear you.
Why don't you prepare them before? I regret getting into a public relationship with a famous person who was immature. And I leave it at that. Yeah.
It's not every day where you're privileged, where growing up you know of a person, you live in Umlazi in KZN, and there's this icon that you grow up listening to on the radio, on Metro FM. You watch on TV. They've diversified so many times into different spheres of broadcasting, of just being an influence in the media space. I'm absolutely privileged to be sitting with Usisipeni Lebyane. Sisi, how are you doing? It's really an honor to have you here on Engineer Your Life. How's your heart today? Where are you mentally? Where are you emotionally? How's your heart?
Thank you for having me. My heart is good. I mean, I did a little bit of exercising before I got here.
Yeah.
My spirit is not restless per se, but it's like, anticipating things to happen. We are in the second quarter of the year.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day in Johannesburg, and it's been for a few days. People can't drive, so you have to be extra cautious.
Sure.
I'm a woman in my 40s, enjoying good health, good friendships, and really just looking back at my own personal journey, where I am here now. So I'm grateful. My heart is grateful. I'm really grateful.
You're in a place of gratitude.
Yeah. I'm grateful.
It makes sense. You speak of exercise. Actually, once we're there, why is it important? Why is exercise a pivotal point of your life right now in this season you're in?
It's always been.
Okay.
It's never been a seasonal thing for me because, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit. I've been that kind of a person who, I've openly spoken about anxiety and depression from in my late 20s, but mostly after I gave birth to my son because I dealt with puerperal psychosis. But I was already exercising. So I was a kid who was exercising at 14, going to like aerobics classes. Have always been a person who's moving and who's going because I just, not just for physical being and looking good, but for vitality.
Okay.
For vitality.
Yeah.
I grew up in the village, so people, they were working and walking. So I'm generally a walker wherever I live.
Yeah.
And then I would go to the gym, do some different classes. So I'm one of those people who did Pilates before it was a thing.
Before it trended.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who did ice baths before it was a thing. I'm one of those people who was hiking before it was a thing. Like I'm just that kind of person.
Sure.
And I also like watching what white people do. When they go into it, I'm like, why are they doing this?
Benzan. Yeah.
Then I get on Google or something. Yeah. I guess Google coming in the 2000s. So I've always been that kind of a person. Curious, inquisitive, out there, learning, discovering, leading in that way.
We love learning here. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. You said perpetual psychosis. What was the correct word?
It's puerperal.
Puerperal?
No. Okay. I've actually totally deleted it out of my mind. It's puerperal psychosis. So there's like when you have the blues after you've given birth, most women have it. It's like an adjustment. I say babies are beautiful, but they're the most selfish things that they come into a woman's body, they take everything that's good for them, and if you have not built up whatever, they're like, oh, you got problems, you don't have enough iron, you don't have enough calcium, you don't have this. And then when you're pregnant, you're dealing with like cravings and all of those things. It's minerals and nutrients that are lacking in your body. Then you have the baby blues, which is like psychologically your life is transitioning, your body is battered by pregnancy, and then you struggle. Some people have extreme cases where they really don't want the baby. They're tired. They can't do anything for the baby. They feel they're not equipped enough to be a mother. And then there's those who, their thoughts are running there, because I'm a type, what you call a type A.
Yeah.
So I really just give birth to this baby. Everything's in order. Everything must go the way I want it to go, and everyone else mustn't interfere in my plan. And then that just, so it means I'm not sleeping. I gave birth naturally. I didn't get on any medication. Everyone is like, how did you do that? But the body says you need to rest. So I was admitted. And then, so it's an extreme case of the baby blues. That's what it's called.
Thanks. That's an educational moment. I want to go back a bit.
Yeah.
I will pretend, because obviously this platform it's still a baby. It's 3 years old, and there are people on this platform who probably are a bit younger, so they don't know the entirety of who Penny Lebyane is. So
they must go read. But it's fine.
We'll try,
All
right?
Cool.
We'll try.
Yeah.
At age 15,
yeah,
where were you?
I was in high school at Jabula in Klipspruit in Soweto.
Mm-hmm.
I had entered Miss Soweto.
Always been a queen.
That year, and I was just like, this thing of these girls, this pageant saying they want world peace, they must talk about real things. So I went there. It was my first time, sleeping at a hotel as a teenager, living in Soweto. I was preparing I was in grade 11, I think. Yeah, I think I was in grade 11. And then, that's how I entered Miss Soweto at 15. And I was in high school. I was that kid in school who was participating in choir, drama, athletics.
The creative bug was always there.
Yeah, and then, I was loving radio, and I was loving reading. I've always been a reader. So even when I lived in Bushbuckridge, because I only came to Soweto when I was 13.
Yeah.
I lived in Bushbuckridge in Mpumalanga until I was 13, came to Soweto to go to high school. So when I was in the village, I used to read, when you're in the bathroom, newspapers, how we used to use them before we all had access to double ply. So I would sit there for hours.
Since Penny, I can't relate. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Where did you grow up?
Not Bushbuckridge.
Okay, cool. Okay. That's where I grew up.
Fair.
Okay. Anyway, so that's where I grew up. And then I would read newspapers if I'm, using the pit latrine in the rurals. And then if there's books in the house, I would read that. So same thing when I came to the township. My mom loved collecting magazines. So we had True Love, Drum, Pace. My dad every day came home with a Star newspaper under his arm. On Sundays, we bought a City Press and Sunday Times. Before the other, stuff came in. Before Sunday World and Sunday Sun.
Hey family, quick one. As you know, our podcast is all about growth conversations. It's all about igniting your power. It's all about healing the inner parts of who we are that are difficult to deal with and difficult to manage. As we do that, we'd like your assistance in growing the platform by you subscribing, by you liking all our videos. It helps us to reach greater audiences and change more lives. Do continue enjoying the episode. Before those publications...
Tabloids. That's what they call.
Before they became a bane to your existence at some point.
Well, a little bit and a little bit no. But I mean, tabloids have got their own
KPIs?
Whatever. But I mean, I guess because I was writing for one of the most respected newspapers,
sure.
Press, I became target, and I was on radio and television. Convergence media became a thing. So I became that kind of a personality who made sense to be target in a newspaper as much because I'm on radio and television.
Yeah.
And if you're in Umlazi and Sunday World is there in Joburg and you know Penny Lebyane, you want to buy it because you're seeing someone you know. But if they talk about some random person from here in Joburg, you won't buy it.
Very, 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 very true.
But obviously it's not like, ooh, that's what I wanted, because it was invasive.
Sure.
It
was your life at the end of the day, your real life, things that are happening. High school, Miss Soweto, it's the competitions, it's the pageants, it's the singing. Was there singing here and there? Choir.
I was in a community choir. I'm not a pageant girl. I can count the pageants I entered. And when I say it with respect, pageant girls enter every pageant. I didn't do that. I only entered my high school pageant.
Yeah.
Took those pictures, entered Miss Soweto.
Yeah.
Then it was done. So I'm not a beauty queen pageant girl. I don't like to be labeled in that list.
Miss Soweto, was it the beginning of everything, or would you say there's another breakthrough moments that you can identify?
I mean, there were other things. Like I think there was like I entered like a television competition where general knowledge. Because I'm a reader. I'm a reader, so I was good at general knowledge. I think there was Spin a Wheel on SABC. I won some money for my family, so I entered that Spin a Wheel thing.
Yeah.
And then won some money. I mean, entered that Miss Soweto thing. That's probably like the biggest one besides my high school one. I don't know if there was like Miss Valentine or whatever. No, deleted pictures and things like you've participated.
Yeah.
And then after that, radio was a thing that I tried auditioning as like a
Which year is this?
young actors. 15 there, 16.
Okay.
I auditioned for like a few TV show, acting gigs, but I couldn't stomach that whole auditioning thing. I went to like Mam Iyendu's acting classes and Rosalind Morapedi at Power Park and other that they were offering in Soweto. So I went to a few auditions. Then I think after I got to Miss Soweto, I was like, okay, time out. I'm going to focus on my matric year. And then in the year of my matric, I joined Soweto Community Radio at the time, which is Josie FM now. And then they were offering training for broadcasting. And then they were going to go on air like the following year in 96. So I did the training early in the year, and then I focused on my matric year. And then I never worked for Soweto Community Radio. And then I joined Voice of Soweto the following year, which was a different station.
Yeah. Where do you think this boldness as a teenager who's in high school to be attending auditions comes from? Because I'm thinking, geez, when I was 13, yes, I'm in the era of Yo TV. I would watch Yo TV, aspire to be like those presenters. But I was like, how would I get to Joburg to do all of this? This dream seems impossible.
So Pimville, Soweto, is a very beautiful suburb. It's a suburb of stars.
Okay.
So back opposite of my house was a lady who worked at Litulu House. The other back opposite was Ndatik Kezamgwenya, who was a writer for Drum magazine. And then another block on the other side was Dix Morewa, then Glenn Lewis. So you were walking around, and so it was like that. I mean, I don't know now.
Yeah.
But Pimville was like that. You'd walk around, you'd see people who you see newspapers,
and they're there.
Yeah, this is the early 90s, early 90s. So they were there. So you'd be walking somewhere. There's Brenda Fassin head drop top passing by. So it felt like it's possible.
I hear you.
And because now you're reading a newspaper, you see in the newspaper, you see, Power Park, the address. You could literally see where the place is. So it's 2 taxis.
Yeah.
So it's different when you're in Umlazi.
Yeah.
And then if they say they're auditioning in Craig Hall or in Greenside, you like literally, where's Greenside? And then there's somebody who at church or a close family friend who knows where Greenside is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it felt more accessible because I was in Joburg, and then newspapers were reliable source of information. So if there was audition or something, you will see it in the newspaper. So like I said, my dad came home every day with a newspaper, and in that newspaper there was information.
Yes.
So every day after my dad finished reading the newspaper, I'm the one who's reading it. Going through it, I'm fine. Oh, there's an audition. Oh, there's this. Oh, and you see a byline, a name of a person. You're like, oh, that kind of stuff. So I think that gave me the confidence. And obviously, you watch television at the time. You start seeing Black people and women, and then you read magazines. You read people's profiles, and then they tell you, this is what I did. And you're like, oh, this is possible. Maybe if I become a teacher or a journalist, I could end up reading news on TV. Or maybe, you literally. So I was that kind of a child.
Yeah. I think that, for me, it speaks to the importance of having role models within your vicinity that you can refer to. As you're saying, they were all in Pimville, a lot of them. So it wasn't far-fetched.
Yeah, it wasn't far-fetched because they look like you. I think it's more than like even them being within your vicinity.
Yeah.
But it's them looking like
you. Representation.
Yeah, representation. Seeing people like Azania Musaka on television, Tabiso Matladi on television doing like the joint, Black girls side by side with white boys, and you're like, yeah, I can do that too. You saw those kind of people, and you're just like, it's very possible. And then you read about them, Zwane Lenzala, you read Melanie Son, you read about them in these magazines, and you're like, okay, so they are like they're like 4 years older than me. So if I really focus, I could be here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah, yeah,
it became that kind of a
yeah,
thing. And
yeah,
there's little ways. Obviously, after I entered Miss Soweto, I had access to Radio Bob jocks.
mm-hmm,
Nothemba Madume was the MC, Titch Mataz,
yeah,
Bendy Kobe. They all came. They all came from Mafikeng. And now you're like, no, you've met these people, you take pictures with them, you
yeah.
actually print the picture, you have it. So it feels like it's possible. Arthur Mafokate. So I went to school with Arthur Mafokate's niece.
Okay.
Cindy Mafokwane. She was Arthur's cousin.
Mhm.
So we're in the same class. So my brother does this. So you realize, okay, if we go to Shawela Triple C, do you want to dance? Okay, maybe I can do that. But you see, it's becoming possible.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
sure,
So
sure.
that's the type of Kathy Maklu, who was a model, who was a beauty queen. She was Miss Lovely Legs, Miss Seven, So you
Within reach.
So you within reach, you meet those kind of people. So Miss Soweto kind of also clarified it. Then we went on the Felicia Mabuzo Subtitles show to talk about, beauty and young women. And then you're like, oh, this is possible. We're at the SABC. I mean, this is the building. So you know what I mean? So that's 15, 16.
Yeah. Felicia Mabuza Settle left the country a long, long time ago.
What do you mean? She left the country?
Yes. When she went overseas
she left with King Kong to go to the US.
Yes.
One of my role models, one of my heroes.
Actually, when I get in there, what's the most memorable moment of you and her?
So Felicia spoke to my life. Cool. She said to me, because now this is when I'm like already at Metro FM. She says to me, and the boys were really, this whole thing of like
boys club.
Boys club, and making fun of people. This thing of it's called image laundering, where you pull down someone so you can get attention of yourself. So there was an era of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was popular on radio, on YFM. Fat Joe was doing it. You'd mock Felicia and all of that. You do all of that, and then everyone's like, "Ubani lo khuluma ngo Felicia, or ubani khuluma lo ngo Penny," because things matter. If you're like on an original station, you're talking about someone who's on a national platform. It's dissing or whatever it's called. So and I was struggling with a lot of that, and she was like, and also I was very vocal about how I felt about how people go about it. And she was like, you have to come to a place, Penny, where you accept that you're a peacock, and they're trying to force you into a penguin suit. And there's actually a book that she referenced me to, that sometimes you just stand out because you're so colorful and bold and bodacious and exceptional and excellent in your way of doing things. And then that people are going to try and squeeze you into something you're not. And sometimes they actually think it's fun that you're at the same level or you're playing because they want to do that. But you gotta stick to who you are and accept that you're not the same level as them.
Did you move straight from Voice of Soweto to Metro?
Yes.
Interesting jump.
Yeah. I'm probably one of the few. Yeah. Count how many. Yeah, I moved.
From community.
So everybody that I worked with at Voice of Soweto, probably 89.9% went to YFM.
Yeah.
So the others went to like Prime Media as newsreaders, depending on the departments. So I was the last person to go on air at Voice of Soweto. And then I was like, Lord, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I had sent applications to Metro FM, and everyone told me that's not going to happen. Radio Metro at the time. So I'm actually, so when Radio Metro transitioned to Radio Metro to the new brand positioning of Metro FM, I'm one of those people who was there when that transition happened.
Sure.
From the meetings and when they were showing us the imaging and changing, so that's probably one of the reasons why my thing with Metro is like that. People don't understand because I know exactly where it was, where the vision was, and what it was supposed to be. I mean,
and what it is now.
I don't know what it is now. So I knew that, and then I hold that dearly because it was such a powerful time. Same thing with City Press. When it transitioned to just being a news, it was a newspaper for Black people and all that. But when it really became about excellence and Black excellence, I was there. So I feel like I really sat with people and worked with people who had a vision of what we are and how great we can become. So I'm very jealous of it that way. Same, so basically my Voice of Soweto Metro happened like that. And then, I think for like 2-3 weeks, I was like just not sure what's going to happen. There was some station at Hyde Park, a Jewish station. And then they're like, okay, maybe we can consider you for breakfast or whatever. And I was like, all right. I think I went for a day. And then the call came.
The Metro FM call. Do you remember who called?
I think it must have been Piwase. She was there. I got a message at home.
Okay.
I got a message at home because did I have a cell phone at the time? I probably did. We had pages and cell phones. At Voice Society, we were also the first cool kids to get and cell phones, I got home and they were like, you have a message from Radio Metro, call. Or it's either Piwas or Ntate Mashego. So there used to be a man, Ntate Mashego, who was in programming there, like, please call Metro.
Sure.
Then they said you must come in for a meeting. And then I had a meeting with Romeo and Pee-wee.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, this is what's happening. One of our jocks has been suspended. Well, it was in the news. So we have to shift a few things around. So Ben has to sit in for Vusiletswalo. And then,
Oh my, these amazing names you keep on mentioning.
Yeah, and then, can you do 3 to 6 Saturday morning Saturday morning and Sunday morning. So I'd go, yeah. So that's how it started.
So Sabu Graveyard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, graveyard is 12 midnight, but 3 to 6. Yeah. So that's
secondary graveyard.
Yeah, it's secondary graveyard. It's pre-dawn. It's
pre-dawn.
Pre-dawn, pre-breakfast. So that's what I did.
And how long were you on that show?
So because it was in the middle of the contract year, I did that. Maybe I got there like in September. I don't remember. But then by the new fiscal, then I was given 12 midnight to 3, weekly type of a thing.
Yeah.
So that one was a trial. And then when the following contract came, then I was given a mid 12 to 3,
weekdays.
Weekdays.
Yes.
Then,
yes.
And then someone else was doing 3 to 6 on Saturday, which Romeo was doing at the time. And then Pimela Mutene was doing the show, and then she left to go to Generations, and then I became the Fanta Funky Town girl.
The rise at Metro FM, I mean, it was beautiful, probably plagued with troubles, as you're saying. Image laundering happened here and there.
Yeah, Metro was a beautiful time. Like, I was a kid in a candy shop. I was the girl at midnight that, people wanted me in the building. If I'm in the building, Kenny Maesty wouldn't let me pass by without making me say something on air. Glenn wouldn't let me pass by. So, like, I had these big brothers who just thought I was cool. Bendy Kobe called me Money, excuse my French, fucking penny. Because I'm Money Penny.
Yes,
and
yes,
hang through those guys, and I was just this cool girl who was just, with it. I would go to parties and leave the party to go straight to on air. I mean, initially, those first 3 months, my dad would wait for me. My dad would take me to work and wait for me. And then eventually he allowed me to like drive myself to work. And then I became a girl about town. And then I'd take like 3 or 4 of my friends to go. So we'd go to a party, and then I would leave the party, and everybody, like, if you wanted to come to me to the party, you go with me to work. That's the deal.
That's a condition.
It's a condition. We go to this house party, then we do whatever we do, and then we must leave the house party to go to work. And then I would fight with a lot of the girls or guys, because the girls I came with, I'm leaving with. And then the guys would be like,
I'm gonna stalk.
No, not in like that. It was an anti-stock, because I came with them. You can't take them.
I hear you.
If you want them, you must go fetch them.
Yes,
so
yes. Do your own work.
Do your own work. Like, go to their mother's house, pick them up. I'm not bringing them for you. So it was an anti-stock. So slowly, then I started like getting rid of the girls, because I'll go with them to the party, and then when they get there, they're liked by certain guys. Now they want to remain. I'm like, and then your mother's gonna say you left it with me, and now you know I don't know where this guy is gonna take you. So I was anti-stock.
When was your peak at Metro? When did you feel I'm peaking now?
I've never had an Mnandi session me at Metro. It was just always a fight, because I was fighting for what I want. That I wasn't. I mean, I had a great time when I was doing 3 to 6 Fanta Funky Town.
Yeah.
It was very popular, and then it changed when Fanta sponsorship ended, and it became the Aftermath. Dr. Dre album Aftermath.
Yeah.
So then I did that. It was cool. that Saturday show was cool because then I would be in Durban, Cape Town for major events and doing stuff. But I think a year or two into that, things kind of changed because I wasn't getting what I want.
What is not getting what you want?
I want to drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to drive.
Yeah.
Either breakfast or afternoon drive. I didn't understand why I couldn't get any of those things.
Yeah.
So,
and what were they saying?
It was just sexist nonsense. I don't want to discuss it. It's still the same.
You believe it's still the same?
Yeah. I know. I don't believe. I just ended a contract with SABC last year in 2024. It's still the same. It's women are not treated as equally as men. Men are supported better. They paid better. They're given support system, producers, everything that you require. And men, I believe that they're gonna do well in such slots. Women are trialed out in slots. And men are earmarked and they can be parachuted into positions.
I hear you.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They can get you with your engineering experience, with no radio experience, and give you breakfast and say, we think Lungelo will do well. And then they give you 5 producers. And do it. As a woman, there's one, and then you're not sure, and then they're trying out this. It's like it's always trial and error. So, I mean, that's black radio for you so far.
And
they will pay you half of what they pay the guy. If the guy was paid 300,000, they're like, we'll give you 150.
Yeah.
And then the guy might be paid 300,000, and then he's can negotiate for advertising revenue and whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of stuff. So. And it's also been the same guys doing the same slots for the last 20 years. They've all been on drive here, on drive there. And so they've never done anything else. But as a woman, you must convince them that you can do the show. So I did. I wanted it. I felt that I'm a different generation of a woman. I mean, my radio icon is Shedo Twala, who pioneered amazing things with jazz, contemporary jazz, and social issues of her generation. I felt like I'm going to be that girl for my generation. So I'm hip hop, I'm kwaito, I'm out there, I'm fashion, I'm street, and that's what Drive was. Hottest music, hottest parties, coolest people, international. And then I'm a girl who would give you a plan of what I want to do. I want to go to the Grammys, the Oscars, and this, and the content I want to do. So I wasn't a lazy
bystander.
I wasn't a bystander.
Yeah.
And then I write emails, I send proposals. So I'm talking from that. And then I deliver on air. And I'm the one who will go fetch content. I will go to the clubs. I will go speak to the artists. I will break new artists on air. So I did all of those things. I pioneered ideas. So I didn't understand why I wouldn't get it. And the boys used to say that to me. They used to say, I used to hang out with Glenn Lewis, Robert Marawa, you know what I mean? In cool places.
Yeah.
Like where management wouldn't be there. They wouldn't know what a hot song is kicking in clubs. I would know. So why wouldn't they give me Drive?
I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be the viewer who's saying, no, Sis Penny is complaining. There are women
complaining.
There are women on radio
now
who are doing well. And I'm actually trying to go through the list and I'm like, how many anchors though?
Yeah,
they are co-hosts.
They're co-hosts. You have sidekicks. Also, I refuse that. I didn't like that concept of like I must have a co-host. No, I don't like it. I want it to be penny and deliver and prove that we can do it as women by ourselves. And that's that. Most of the shows that I did them like that. I did the top 20 obviously like that. I did the Aftermath, which was transition from Fanta Funky Town the following year. So the first year I did it with the Fanta Funky Town was a highly packaged show. So we had international entertainment news. It was a syndicated concept. We had the hottest songs for that week. We had big stories. So we'd get clips. So it was highly packaged. So I would go to the production studio at Kit Lindsay to do all of that. So after that show, I knew I could deliver what's required. It was the best preparation for what Drive needs. You need to know what the hottest music is, what is the hottest news. And then obviously you have to localize it. And I was very good at localizing stuff. I knew the hottest DJs. I knew the biggest trends. I knew agency people. So like I'm saying. So, and I know the women who were given what slot at what time and how they didn't prepare them. And then they put them there for like a year or two. Then they remove them. The guys are there for 5 years.
True.
That 5 years, and radio is like that. You need to keep doing the thing to get better. So if you're putting her there for 2 years, you're removing her and you say women are not good enough. How are they going to be good enough when you don't give them equal opportunity to prove themselves?
I hear you.
Or
I hear you.
why don't you prepare them before, so that you're like, we're earmarking you, which they've done. Some of the stations and some of the women that we see now in non-black stations, they've prepared them.
Prime Media.
Prime Media.
Yeah.
They've prepared some of the
Yeah.
talent,
Yeah.
put them on certain slots. And prepare them. Like, and you could see their rise, how it goes. Like, I mean, a good story is Anele.
Absolutely.
You could see her rise. I'm an
Yes.
Anele fan.
Yeah.
And I know Anele from her first radio show.
Sure.
And I could tell you, this is where she's going to go with the right support. And that's where she is.
She was celebrated.
We lost someone like Semi Sosa. Semi Sosa was an amazing radio talent.
She's back on 947, by the way.
Semi Sosa is on 947?
They are grooming her. So they've put her on weekends.
I haven't heard of
Yeah, I heard her last week.
So also the other thing that they do with black women is that they pick you off the tree before you're ready. You just plonk her off, you put her on prime time, and then you try. She's not ready. And then when and then you overwhelm her with everything, besides the sex that they overwhelm you with. Another conversation. Then before you know it, the woman is losing confidence. And then she's not, and then it's like, you see now this is what she's doing. Dineo, another great talent. Then they'll throw all sorts of people. Can you just let the girl be? Do her thing, pace herself, take her time, and let her peak.
I hear you.
Overwhelming people.
What made you leave Metro? Okay, I understand why. I mean, that moment when you said, I'm leaving, what had happened?
So I was on a contract. You know what? My thing is when people don't honor contracts or they try to bundle up stuff.
Yeah.
I always choose peace. How I left Metro was that I was put on 12 to 3, year 1 on my own, and I was building up. Then they decided to move Thomas, Bad Boy T from Breakfast, and make him co-host with me. And Thomas wasn't happy with that, because he was on Breakfast, had his whole
Can
thing.
imagine.
And
I
then
can
they put him
imagine.
on. Then before the contract is signed, we're going to go on air. And then Thomas wants a specific producer. He says, I want this person to be my producer for this show if I'm going to do it. They're like, no, you can't have that person. That person is working at 5FM. And now I'm on air. Now this is April. The new show must start. Then Thomas is not coming, and it's a very difficult situation. And then they bring in your homeboy, Leko, from Durban, Locomotion.
Locomotion, yes.
Then Locomotion is in Jozi. The city lights are crazy. He can't keep up with the pace of Penny Lebyane. And then I think we had a Naked DJ as a producer. We did that. We struggled because we lived in different ways. I was traveling. I was doing a lot of international stuff because I was trying to do content from that point of view. Like I went to London, I went to Monaco, and those are the kind of things I wanted to. And I wasn't getting the right support because now it's no longer, I can't execute holistically the ideas that I can execute. And then I got to accommodate this pace that he's working on. No disrespect. You coastal people are very slow. You Durbanites and Cape Townians, you're chilled. This is it. Like radio for me is rhythm.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So it becomes like that. And boys are boys. They club together. They think I'm being a diva by demanding to do certain things, and then they all pulled a stunt, and then they decided that they're gonna do the show with them, and then I must focus on something else. They wanted me to be a lifestyle specialist, and no one could put it in writing.
The show.
They wanted me to be a station overall lifestyle person. I must cover these international. It was like supposed to be a strategic thing. I must cover events, international events, content. You see, because now it's the emergence of that. But nobody wants to pay. Nobody wants to put it in strategic in writing. What is it that I'm doing? Because I'll ask you, if you're saying I'm going to be the station's this, I'm going to be covering lifestyle content and whatever. So if I'm going to be on Breakfast, how many times am I going to be in Breakfast? A week? A month? So I said, no problem. As long as you keep my salary the way it is, and as long as you can quantify strategically where I fit into the station. So I don't want to be coming to you as a Breakfast show guy and saying, I'm going to cover Parliament and I want to ask Julius, where he bought his suit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no one told me that. It must be in writing, in the programming format. And none of the managers at the time could put it there. They were just trying to get rid of me.
I hear you.
Yeah. And then I said to them, actually, it's okay. I'm leaving. And I was doing Mutswako at the time. So I was like, and I had just had a baby as well. So I had to choose my battles. I had to choose being healthy for myself and my baby and going where I'm celebrated instead of being
tolerated.
tolerated. So I left because I was like, I can't keep every year trying to convince you what my worth is in this place. I've actually done so much. So I just said, that's it. I had a contract that was outstanding at the time. I had a 2-year contract. And I said, I'm not going to fight this contract because I don't have legal money. And then I can't deal with SABC legal department. So I just said, you know what, actually, I'm leaving. And then some people said, no, you should just come in and do a sit-in and go on air. I was like, no, I'd rather go home and breastfeed and go shoot Mutswako and be, a woman of note, which is what I did.
Whew, it sounds like constructive dismissal.
Oh no, I've had a few of those. Yes, it was constructive dismissal. But also, I mean, I didn't. There were too many other moving parts at the time that I don't think. I mean, there was the work stuff. There was I had a child. There was personal issues going on. I just needed to work and money, look after me and my family, which is my children. So I chose that. But I had a contract.
Yeah. I'll push you.
That was outstanding.
I'll push you a bit if you allow me. Do you regret getting into a relationship publicly with a famous person?
No, I don't. I regret getting into a public relationship with a famous person who was immature. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Who was immature, who didn't understand the value and worth of being with someone else who has equal profile. Yeah. Boys versus men. Different thing. I can still get into a public relationship, which you will never know about. I might be in one right now.
Hey, Ngoba.
I mean,
yeah. But it's not public then it's private, just with a person of profile. Because that was public a bit to an extent.
No.
Because it was known about, right?
It was a private relationship. It was not a public relationship. It wasn't. Things just became
known.
Yeah, become known.
Yeah, over time.
All the time. And also how it comes known is how you react on being known. It's the things that you do. When you do funny things like make other people like you're not in a relationship with them, and then you jump and dive like you're in high school. The girl wants me, I don't really want her, but you went to someone's parents and introduced yourself. Things like that. People do things like that. You can't go meet my parents. And then you meet my parents, you make me meet your parents, and then to your friends, you're like, but we are not in a relationship. That's childish.
But for relationships to end, Sis Penny, it takes two. I know sometimes there is a person who did something that's deplorable.
Yeah.
Something that's hurtful, something that's a boundary that breaks a relationship. In that particular relationship, do you think there's anything you did that contributed to it ending?
I just said no to bullshit. I don't date people who get excited that because you're dating me, people want to sleep with you and you're sleeping with all of them and you call them your friends and you go in public and you say things. You part of people who are trying to mess with my psychology, and then when I ask you, you don't account. And then I actually don't want to talk about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You leave Metro FM, there's Motswako, and there's many other productions. We could be here all day, right? But there seems to be I had Sis Nambita Mpumlana here on that chair a few months ago.
Nice.
And we spoke about this whole diva thing because you touched on it also.
Yeah.
And she said she used to take offense in seeing headlines that she's a diva, but now she's taken it back and
owned it.
Yeah, what's your perception of being called a diva? And do you think you are?
Nobody has ever called me a diva. I've been called difficult, stubborn, loudmouth, tactless, not to my face though.
Gossiping everywhere about you. Yeah.
And I'm a very straightforward person. If I'm unhappy about something, I'm going to articulate it in procedurally. Like
Using the correct channels.
yes, and I don't get into exchanges. I like emails. I will write what I am concerned about, so you can write back.
Sure.
Graham Gilfillan, who was my lawyer and manager, taught me that in the 90s. I don't do exchange. I don't get into a screaming match with anyone, so you can call me names. I just write and say, this is what transpired and whatever, and that's that. So then after that, someone is not going to respond, and then the thing is left hanging, and then I'm like, well, actually, I'm good. I'm out. So I've never been called a diva to my face.
Do you think that the culture of using procedures to stand up for yourself may make people uncomfortable?
Yes.
Perhaps that's why they've called you difficult and tactless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I'm just going to ask. I mean, I really think Ntabi Singh has got a great song and they're really, really good. I'd like, I'm interviewing them. And I do the interview. Remember, I was a presenter producer. So I made a lot of, but now if you are involved in Biola with the record company of Ntabi Singh, I don't know that. I just interviewed Ntabi Singh because I think he's a new artist. So it's like, so then I learned over time that, I'm exposing things that people are doing unknowingly, because I'm just doing my work. And I don't get caught up in political nonsense at work, who's sleeping with who's drinking with who's partying with. I really don't care. I don't go to work to make friends. I have amazing friends, an amazing family. I go there to do my job. That's really what it is. And then everything must be about the job. You mustn't be concerned in like what car I parked in the parking lot. And people are concerned about that.
Sure.
They're concerned about why am I wearing green today? I like green.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to the summers. Why did you extend your room instead of we all got given one bedroom. I decided I want to upgrade and have a suite. Somebody has a problem with that, and in management or one of the jobs. Those things have nothing to do with
how I perform my job.
I perform in my contract.
Yeah.
In anything. So, you left for a week. You went to London. Yes, I did. But I wanted to do a crossover into the station. You didn't allow me to. So I did it and put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or wrote for City Press. Or gave it to True Love.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
I hear you.
Or you're not going to cover the summers. I called the summers and asked to be invited. And now I'm a judge and I can go to the summers without your permission.
Yeah.
I don't need your permission to go there. So it's those kind of things. And I'm very procedural in how I went about doing things.
Sure.
And also the fact that maybe you're concerned that, I'm dating this person. It has nothing to do with my work.
Once again, with how I'm performing.
With how I'm performing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're writing about me in City Press, and then I feel like I need to tell them, in Sunday, well, don't disrespect me. Then it's like, I must keep quiet. They're disrespecting me. And I know the guy who's disrespecting me because I saw him last night at the party. He's disrespecting me and that's not true.
Yeah.
And he mustn't create, I must be excited because, when they write about you, there's no bad publicity, good. No, there is. Don't make up stuff about me because you think if you make up stuff about me, it's going to make me more popular. I'm not interested in popularity. I'm just doing the work. Can we just focus on that? So all of that stuff that people got caught up in, I was not interested in.
Your opinion on the state of the media industry at the moment. Radio, television, digital. You can break it down in the different spheres if you want, but just your opinion on, are we respecting media enough, or is media practitioners respecting themselves enough in the space?
Well, I don't even know. Are you guys calling yourselves media practitioners? Because are you really media practitioners?
Shots fired.
There's a lot of people who have a microphone who are talking. I'm a child of transition and evolution of things, So my love for radio is not just about my voice. It's about the impact that it can make. But it's also about the technology that it is, I understand how its premises in ICT, information technology and communications, and how it's continuously transforming.
Sure.
And I'm very good at jumping on things in the beginning, like I started in community. I went straight to commercial. Probably on my CV, I'm one of those few people who did that. I was not at a campus station or a regional radio station. And a lot of people who come from campus or regional, they struggle a bit to transition on commercial. They peak like this and then you can't figure, and community gave me that identity. I know what public interest is. I know what community issues are, and I know what is just entertainment, culture, conversation for the general public and for us who are in that space. Because there's some things that are just for us who work in there and we think it's of public interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me and my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you guys like certain things and you want to make it, like it's what the whole country is doing. When you have the power of radio, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can be a DJ and say, we think this song is hot, and then you impose it on the public.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy as a programmer. That's why it's programming. So I understood those kind of things. And I think for lack of training, the media in South Africa, didn't shape in a way of the developing state that we are as a country.
Mm-hmm.
So this population is young. We've just attained our freedom. So we went a certain way, in certain things. Current affairs, politics is everything, and everybody, you're taken serious if that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are an health personality, you focus on health and education and women and wellness and culture. It's like, it's just entertainment. No. The reason we respect Americans is they can hold Americans and British people, that they can, Australians in broadcasting, they can hold it down on every aspect of life in a conversation.
Sure.
So we respect them for that. So Tina, we were, Penny is about lifestyle and what. It's not serious. Really? Why are you selling alcohol to everyone when you know very well that you're dumbing down the nation? Somebody needs to tell them, watch this alcohol, eat healthy, exercise, sleep is important. All of those things are important. Do you know what I mean? And it progressed over time. But we lost a lot of quality in our broadcast, in our writing.
Lost it to who?
We just
passing away, and
we just discarded it. No respect for process.
Okay.
No respect for basics: who, when, what, why, how. I mean, some people who are on radio, they don't even know when they ask conversations. Others don't understand gender dynamics. Others don't understand. They just talk about things without understanding the procedure around it. Like we're dealing with cases right now around rape. People just run their mouths. They don't spend time reading, getting informed, bringing in the right people. Everyone is
subject experts.
Like the basics of putting content to a public in a responsible way.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being entertaining, but you still got to be responsible in your ability to entertain.
Yeah.
So some of those elements are gone, and most stations don't vet people when they hire them. Only when they're on air, they're like, yeah, but you're not supposed to do that. It's like, yeah, but where did you get this person?
Instagram?
Well, Instagram, or your friend recommended them, or you like them because they were on some TV show looking cute and pretty, and you're like, I like proximity. I want to penny hakabamo. Yeah, Muperali, Lungelo. That it's just a bunch of boys, feeding their high school egos that were never met.
Commercial radio, are the right people on right now?
Anybody can be the right person if the environment is set up to be right.
Okay.
Because you can't end up with wrong people if you have no strategy and no plan. Some of those people they really love radio, but they're working in places where there's no plans and strategy. So what do you want them to do? We all have families and bills to pay.
Yeah.
And and also not everybody's gonna be like Penn, who's saying, nah, I'm too real for this. My my values are at this level. I can't do a bad job because these people, you know what I mean? Some people are happy with that, with they'll be okay with that. Others like the shortcuts. Others like the hype that comes with it. So I can't use my standards on others. But there's lots of talent in this country. But if talent is not guided and directed, what do you expect them to do? Are the right managers? Maybe. That's the question we need to have. Do we have the right people leading these teams?
It seems to be the same people moving around.
Oh, it's like anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same people.
It's an industry.
You spend 3 years there, you go there.
Yeah.
You come back. People even come back.
Yeah, they come back. They repeat the same stuff.
Sure.
Steal money over here. Steal over there. Exploit over there. Abuse over here. It's the same.
Perhaps that's the issue then, because even the talent is being rotated. Hence, there was once a time where there was an open up the industry movement.
The talent is not necessarily rotated. The trajectory is just one direction. Everybody fishes from the same pool. So it's not a rotation.
Okay.
So what happens is managers don't really look for talent widely. Like, they're not sitting here and saying, when I went to Cape Town, I listened to a random community station. I had this amazing talent, at this campus radio station. And I'm thinking, if we can put in a 7-year plan strategically, or 5-year plan, 3 to 5, this is where they can go and what they can become.
Yeah.
So they're sitting here in Joburg, driving to Rosebank, listening to the same youth station. And then the same people at the same youth station want to go to, it's like they all move. It's like campus, youth station, major, That's why the bigger stations are sounding like a youth station. But the older audience leaves. And when the older audience leaves, that's revenue. You should be growing with your audience. You shouldn't be discarding. How are you discarding over 35s with money because you're trying to appeal to 25-year-olds? I'm the one I've got buying power.
You've got buying power.
Yeah, I've got buying power. How are you doing that?
Yeah.
And then how is it that black communities are not growing? In so-called white station, there are family stations, even though the music will always be current and popular, but you also gotta find a way where you merge your audiences. But for black people, it's very weird, the things that we're doing.
You're not impressed?
Not at all. I haven't been for a long time.
What can we do to change it?
I'm not here to talk about radio and changing radio. What is this interview about? You want me to sit here and all those guys are listening to my ideas?
Okay, fair.
I'm giving free ideas.
Fair.
They must respect the audience. That's what they must do. The biggest problem is people don't respect the audience. Like I'm a personality, and I have been my entire life. I know who my audience is, and I know where to find them, and I know why I have youth appeal as well. I can tell you, I don't just, when I do, like with radio, I go to places and study what audiences are doing. So if you're only going to clubs, you will think everybody else goes to clubs.
I hear you.
Yeah. If you only go to Chisanyama, you only think that everybody goes to Chisanyama. Especially if you just think everybody goes to Chisanyama for soul sessions. There's actually people who go there for food and they like driving. Others want to meet girlfriends. That's you see. But for example, we've made the whole Sunday thing about just love songs.
Yeah.
There's so much more in that Sunday space. There's food, there's cars. there's the music, there's fashion, there's business. Do you get what I'm saying? But when everyone thinks, let's all be soul session DJs and we all play the same song. Okay, fine. Do it. I'm bored.
Something more meaningful. How has motherhood shaped you into the woman you are?
I was a mother before I gave birth to my children. I'm a firstborn daughter.
Okay.
I'm a deputy parent.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by my grandparents, so my values were old before I became. So I was looking after my siblings, helping out at home. But when I became a mother, I knew that these beings, these souls, are solely dependent on me. What I put into them is what they're going to spew out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to raise stable, kind, loved, supported, affirmed, confident children. So, because I lived with my grandparents when I was younger and not my own mother, I spent a lot, I intentionally wanted to be that kind of a mother to my children who is present throughout. So I dragged my children everywhere. So me, when I talk about family values and equality, like I said, if I'm going to the summers, the station or whatever event, the station is booking me a 1-bedroom, and I'm not married, and I'm being sent or I'm not married, but I have a partner. I'm sent an invite for one person. I find that very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why am I? Because I'm a grown-up woman
Mm-hmm.
who I should be able to bring a friend or
Mm-hmm.
somebody. That's that. And that's the era that we come from. But now when I had children, as soon as I had my child, I'm the person who upgrades my room, bring my child.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're saying we're arriving on Thursday, I'm going to arrive on Wednesday, acclimatize my child, spend my time, do the work. And then that's that. So I embodied all of those things in my life. And I learned that from other women who are older than me, I was doing things in business. Women like Judy Nokwedi from Love Life. I used to see her do that, bring her children. Carolyn Crew, who's a TV producer, they would bring their children everywhere. And I was like, when I become a mother in this industry, I'm going to be that kind of a mother.
Mm-hmm.
So my children made me more intentional and contained my power as well. Like I was saying to you, I'll just choose my peace and walk away and say, I'm gonna go do something else. I move on. I'm gonna go do motswako. I'm gonna do other stuff because I can't be fighting this. It's not it's not a thing that I want to be fighting. I don't have energy for it.
It's a tough position that you take because, as you say, a lot of people have bills to pay, and from a point of desperation, they will stay. Why are you willing to leave when something doesn't serve you anymore?
Like I said, I have done a lot of work in mental health advocacy. Like choosing my peace is
Number one.
But I will choose my peace after I have explored and exhausted possible ways to address the matter.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That are constructive.
Yeah, that are constructive. But also, I'm not willing to compromise my values for you to hear me out or align. And also I can read through situations. If you're constructively trying to elbow me out, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to leave. That's just that. I'm going to leave and go find something else. And that's what I've done. I mean, because my health, especially at a particular time, I mean, now it's different. I had to make certain choices because it was important for me.
We're nearing the end of our conversation, but before we get there, you are a big advocate of important things.
Yeah.
Recently in South Africa, we're going through an era where it's being highlighted how much women are being violated, young children are being violated. And as always, you are not quiet about those things. You make sure that you remind people that we've always been fighting this fight and we will keep fighting for this fight. But sometimes you find yourself online in hot water as if fighting for justice is wrong. Why do you continue once again to fight for people's rights when sometimes it seems to be hurting other people or offending them?
I respect and I'm honored and grateful for the power that I've been given to have influence and impact in the last 30 plus years through radio. And I'm not ignorant, and I've never been ignorant. I've always been an informed, empowered young woman who wants to contribute to society.
Yeah.
That has always been my commitment. Maybe blame it on the old people that I interacted with when I was young, and that's what I saw. I saw that this country is built on sacrifices of people. You talk about Felicia leaving the country very young, and then when the country was coming back to the global stage, and Mandela said, all South Africans who are out there in the world, you need to come back to South Africa to come and rebuild South Africa. She left her husband and her children in the US and came to South Africa to come and host a talk show that talks to South Africans about our issues. That's a personal sacrifice.
I hear you.
Yuma Sekela, as talented as he is, Mira Makeba, all those people, it's their talent and the sacrifice that they were willing to make.
Sure.
So I was not going to go to exile in 1996. I was not going to go to exile. I was not going to join Zabalazo. I was going to be a kid who's broadcasting, who's celebrating our country, who's adding value to it. So I took that serious. So it continues with that. So there's not, by the time something is trends, I'm aware of what's going on because I'm a social scientist. I watch my people. I'm interested in what by the time we talk about, I can talk about when South African women started being targeted to be consumers and sellers of alcohol. We never used to be selling alcohol and influencers for alcohol and buying expensive alcohol.
Fully targeted right now.
We were fully targeted for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Now now we're the highest leading drinkers as females. And we come from a history where our grandmothers toit so that they must remove beer halls next to the station because our grandfathers would get off the station, buy alcohol instead of taking the money at home. So they already had dealt with a black man.
Sure.
So the next target was who was fighting to keep the family together? It was us. So now we're the ones who got it, and it started happening here in Sentin. I remember talking to Edna from the police. Penny, we're now arresting women coming from fancy restaurants here in Sentin, but Bahama Range Rover. And I started watching the trajectory happen. We went into 2010s. So we start from drinking just cider here, drinking. Now we are ordering champagne, whiskey,
hard liquor.
And now, before you know it, now we are the influencers of it. So it's done. So now our little girls want mocktails. At
0%.
No, we're throwing mocktail parties for our children.
Yeah,
we're already introducing the concept of the glamour of there.
Yeah.
And now it's being done by us, the mothers, as black people. So I can't unconscientize myself. I've always been conscious as Penny. I'm aware of those things. So I didn't decide I'm going to be the one who fights evil. I grew up in abject poverty, injustice. How do I just shut when I know that when I speak, people see, they hear? I mean, some people might not like they're not like I speak too fast, I speak too harsh. But can you hear what I'm saying? Are you slow me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might not like my gestures, but the truth
is the truth.
You can call me tactless, loud. It is what is happening, and you are part of the problem as much as I am part of the problem. And there's you're big, like rape is a men's issue. You guys must solve it. We're tired. Personally, there's nothing I can contribute to solving rape and gender-based violence in this country. Men of South Africa must solve it. You created it, solve it. We're tired. So those are real issues that our country is facing. But also, I look up to other people who sit in similar positions like me in other countries. That's what they do. People like Oprah, Diane Sawyer, Barbara Walters, Zena Bedau in the UK. They're going to broadcasting because they want to empower their communities. I also wanted to be that. I just didn't want to be some pretty woman on television who looks cute.
Doing this.
No, yeah.
As we close, Lebyane, what's that one thing in life you know for sure that you're absolutely certain of? That's like your absolute.
Time reveals it all.
konke okufihliwe kuzovela in isiZulu.
Kuyavela ngesikhathi.
Yeah.
In time, you see, you know the saying, this interview must age well.
Yeah.
Like me. Kuyavela ngesikhathi. Yeah, kuyavela ngesikhathi.
An absolute legend. You're an icon. I hope you remember that as you continue in your journey. I look forward to everything you're still going to do. We need women like you, Sis Pen. You are sobering us. I'm in my early 30s and I'm being sober-minded by what you just said. Now we have young women being arrested in their Range Rovers.
That was 10 years ago. Now they can get
drugs, everything.
Now it's drugs have always been there in the entertainment industry. But when now a demographic is targeted, just like gambling.
Demographic is being targeted. Yeah.
It's a system, guys. And you're part of promoting it to the general population of the poverty-stricken people of South Africa. Because you have influence.
Drops mic. The show is Engineer Your Life and I'm Lungelo KM. Sis Penny Lebyane, thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Kholwa emandleni onawo.
Oh my, we're finally doing this. What does EYL Africa represent? It's about standing in your power. It's about, in isiZulu, it's Kholwa emandleni onawo, which is our tagline. You will see it on the back of my t-shirts. It's about believing in the power that you have, believing in the power that your God, your guides have invested in you. Shop our socks, shop our t-shirt, and just keep believing in yourself. EYL Africa.
Now available on EYLshop.Africa.